Great. Well, good morning, everyone. I am Bryn Thomas, and I'm a student caseworker at Queen's Family Law Clinic, and I'm joined by Rosemary this morning. So why don't you jump on in?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosemary, and like Bryn, I am a second-year law student here at Queen's University, and we are just going to give you a quick information session today about what the Queen's Family Law Clinic offers, what it looks like in terms of eligibility and who can apply for our services, and what we provide.
Perfect. So as we mentioned, we're from Queen's Family Law Clinic, and the Queen's Family Law Clinic is funded by Legal Aid Ontario in partnership with Queen's Faculty of Law. We also have additional support from Pro Bono Students Canada, as well as some Queen's alumni. We assist self-representing family court litigants by completing their documents, helping them navigate the very complex family court process, and referring them to other important people and organizations along the way. Something important to note with this is that we assist clients, but we're not representing them. So we're not their lawyer as a record that will go to represent them in court. We're going to assist them and do everything we can along the way. But at the end of the day, people remain self-represented.
So what does a student clinic mean? So here at the Queen's Family Law Clinic, we are a student-run clinic. Bryn and I are students, and like all the other caseworkers, we work in conjunction and under the supervision of other lawyers, the director and review counsel here at the Queen's Family Law Clinic. We also help clients by helping them attend family court and assisting Legal Aid Ontario funded duty counsel and advice counsel. We also work in the clinic as part of our academic program for credit. So Bryn and I do get credit for working at the Queen's Family Law Clinic. This includes doing reflections, attending a weekly class, and learning not only about the family court process, but also about how to be better lawyers for our clients, such as learning about legal writing and client management. We also are able to provide year-round service to our clients because we have full-time summer caseworkers who just have the clinic. They don't have to worry about school at that same time. We also, at the QFLC, we have a student volunteer program. So this is just, they don't do as much work as the caseworkers, but they do help increase service to clinic clientele. It provides educational opportunities for the volunteers to learn about the clinic, and it also creates a student-mentor relationship with the volunteers and the other people that work at the Queen's Family Law Clinic. And it is important to note that because we are a student-run clinic, there are times throughout the year when we are not available to clients the same way. When we start in September, we're just learning through the process. We also have interruptions of service, such as the Christmas break and a little time in April when we finish school and we're on exams. So while we do provide excellent service to our clients and we keep on top of our clients and know our files, it's important to note that sometimes we might not be available constantly to our clients because we are a student-run clinic.
Yeah, just to add on to that, of course, it is a free service. So I don't think anyone wants anyone helping them with their files when they're in the middle of their exams. It might not be the best service at that point. So that's part of the reason why we do have an interruption. And each file and each kind of client will have one student caseworker working on their file at a time for the most part. If there's a switch over and the caseworker is leaving for summer and a new caseworker is coming in, that is all communicated to the client. So they feel like they have one-on-one relationships with their lawyer. Great. So these are just some of the things that we do at Queen's Family Law Clinic. So we do applications and motions to change for parenting time and decision-making responsibility. That might seem like new terms. This used to be called, as of March 2021, custody and access. We now use these terms, which is a little bit more in line with kind of the best interest of the child approach. We also do child support and other things for extraordinary expenses. So child support is your monthly table amount, and that's set out according to guidelines. Extraordinary expenses is something on top of that that's agreed on to by the parties. And that you see at the bottom there, we also assist and help complete various other forms, as well as doing uncontested or simple divorce applications. So this is when both parties are agreeing, they're not contesting it. It's a simple divorce without spousal support or any other things that might complicate the process. I won't read all of the other documents we can do, but we will have this information available for you at the end, just so that you can kind of see some of the services that we offer. We also, what we will do in addition to what's on the slide, is if it's something beyond what's in our capacity to do at the clinic, we will do referrals. So if it's something that we don't necessarily know, if we don't have the capacity, and if we know someone else that does do it, we'll make sure that we can get that client in contact with somebody that might be able to help.
So now we're going to just talk about the difference between legal aid and the Queen's Family Law Clinic. There might be some confusion. I think it is important to note that the Queen's Family Law Clinic is funded by legal aid, and the Queen's Family Law Clinic is distinct from a legal aid certificate. So if you look at this chart here, there are a lot of things that the Queen's Family Law Clinic does and provides to clients that legal aid might not do. For instance, at the clinic, we deal with motions to change a final order, and legal aid does not help with that. Or we deal with both complex and not complex issues of child support, whereas legal aid does not help with both of those. The one thing that we do want to flag though, and this comes up sometimes at the clinic, we do not deal with any matters of spousal support or division of property here at the clinic. Those are out of our bounds as a student-run clinic, so we do not deal with those matters.
Great. Before I touch on financial eligibility, I did want to mention, of course, that going to court and filing and everything is expensive. So one of the things that the clinic does is help assist clients getting a fee waiver. For example, I just want to get the exact number here. Right now, to get an uncontested divorce, which is that simple divorce that I was talking about, it's a cost of about $466. With a fee waiver, that goes down to $10. So that is a huge thing that we can assist clients with. That's something that can make a major difference. And in order to do that, we need clients to provide some sort of proof of income and work with us with that process. And financial eligibility, as you can see on the slide, this is another difference between what we do here at Queen's Family Law Clinic and legal aid. For the most part, it's pretty similar. You can see the numbers on the slide, and across the board, these are kind of the clients that can come to us that are low income members of the community that we can assist. And then we just do have a little bit of discretion here at Queen's Family Law Clinic. And so if somebody has a low income but is slightly below the legal aid certificate cutoff, it might be something that that may be someone that we could assist with. It would have to go, of course, through the clinic and through our supervisors.
So another important thing I want to note is that if do you have any other resources, or if there's anything else that you want to look at, we have links here for Steps to Justice. There is a Family Law Information Center at the courthouse here in Kingston on Montreal Street that we often refer clients to if they have any urgent matters. The Queen's Law Clinics isn't only dealing with family law matters. Bryn and I do work at the Queen's Family Law Clinic, but the Queen's Clinics provides a lot of other services for other areas of law, such as business law, elder law, prison law, and Queen's legal aid in general that can often help with tenant and landlord matters. There's also links here to guides to procedures in family court, just to help. We do help clients with the issuing, serving, and filing of their court documents. So that's a nice thing that we do here at the Queen's Family Law Clinic, but we did include this link here just in case for our clients.
Absolutely. Just stay on that slide for a second. Just wanted to, Rosemary already said it, and these are great resources, but Steps to Justice is a fantastic tool. On Steps to Justice, there is a variety of information that is all very digestible. It's all very easy to understand. They also have guided pathways, various charts. They have safety plan tools, and they have a lot of other information. For example, we had a question get emailed to us beforehand about what to do if you are, or what kind of process you would have to go through if you were a grandparent. And Steps to Justice will have some of that information. It can point you in the right direction. Of course, if you want legal advice, you're going to have to go through Queen's Family Law Clinic or legal aid to get something specific to each person's situation. But it is a fantastic tool and starting place just to get a little bit of a foundation on all things family law. And finally, here's our contact information. So I'm just going to leave this up while we take any questions. Before we answer any on the call itself, I did just want to touch on some of the questions that we did receive via email. And then Rosemary, if you have anything to add, please just jump in. As I mentioned, we did have a question about what to do if you are a grandparent and if there's any kind of legal process you can go through, and there is. The starting point of any sort of parenting time isn't what's in the best interest of the child. And that's not limited to parents. In fact, there's kind of a move away from just biology right now happening in terms of understanding what actually is in the best interest of the child. And sometimes that's not necessarily the parents. That being said, this isn't an automatic thing for grandparents. It is a complex process, and it is going to depend on the individual circumstances. So I would direct anyone who is looking into that to Steps to Justice, as well as reaching out to Queen's Family Law Clinic and booking an intake so you can get some accurate information.
I agree with everything you just said, Bryn. I echo all of it. Bryn is right when they say that there is a sway like towards or not just focusing on the biology. I would also just like to add that it depends on what a court order, on what a judge would find. If a judge finds that a grandparent is the right guardian or the right person to have parenting time and decision-making responsibility to the child, at the end of the day, that would be up to a judge, and that would need to be in a court order for a grandparent to have that right to see a child. But again, like Britt said, like calling the clinic and booking an intake would be the best bet to get like a correct answer on that.
I have a question. This is not quite like, that's very interesting. And I'm wondering, is CAS also, if this is sort of a general trend that you guys are seeing in family law, is CAS also in the same, like on the same track in regards to that? Like, less of a focus of just on biology, more global best interest of the child, could include some non-biological, etc. Yes. Okay. All right. I was just curious to see where they were trending as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I will say with CAS, like CAS kind of exists in its own kind of superior separate place than everybody else in family law. So I will say that while that is the dominant trend in family law, is that necessarily what CAS is going to do every time? Is that going to follow? Are they going to follow it? We can't exactly speak to that. But Rosemary would be correct in like, yes, that is the general trend.
Okay, thank you.
We also had a question about mental health, which is an important conversation. Family processes and going through any sort of family matters are intense. They can be the worst time in someone's life. And so dealing with mental health along the way is something that's very important. Of course, the Canadian Mental Health Association and their toll-free number, which I can put into the chat, but I'm sure that that's floating around somewhere, is a really good resource. When any sort of family matter starts and the case is with the court, there is a mandatory information program that has to be done within 45 days of that case starting. In that program, you're going to sit through half an hour. If you have children, it's going to be an hour. And there is going to be resources shared on mental health and just information on what to do to check in with your own mental health while going through this process. At Queen's Family Law Clinic, it's also something that we look out for when we do an initial intake appointment. We will ask questions about it and, of course, be sensitive to that along the way.
Sarah, I see you have a question.
Yes. So thank you so much for the presentation. I'm not sure if this is going to be something that you guys can answer, but I have a client. it's not really family law related, but I have a client who I think may be experiencing discrimination in their school with not getting necessary accommodations. I looked at the information that you guys sent about that, the first website, I think that was on that page.
Mhm.
And so I see that there's stuff about the Human Rights Legal Support Center, but I guess off the top of your head, if you can answer this, would it be a violation to not receive necessary accommodation from a school? Like, is that something that could be, I guess, brought up in court?
I would say to that, oh, I don't know if you were gonna say something, Rosemary.
No, I was gonna say, I don't think that's in our bounds of what we can answer. I'm sorry they're going through that, but I think definitely, you said you did go to the Steps to Justice link. I think whatever, like the information would be provided there. I don't know if we could assist with that question.
Okay, that's all right.
I-
Thank you. I think I may have found some stuff on the page.
Bryn might
but-
have something though.
I would just say that that would be if someone was interested, if this client was interested in seeking that out, Queen's Legal Aid would be a better bet because they do deal with the Human Rights Tribunal and reasonable accommodation. It sounds like that would be something that would be worth potentially seeking their assistance on, just so that they can see like if that's outside of what their obligation to do at the school.
Okay, thank you so much. And then, so you said that the income threshold for your services is different from legal aid. What is it? You may have mentioned this and I just missed it, but what is your threshold with legal or with the Queen's legal clinics, I guess?
So our threshold is right here. If you can
Okay.
see, if any of our clients are on social assistance such as OW or ODSP, they are automatically eligible. And then if they are not, we look at their income. So I won't read all of them, but for instance, if you're a single person and you earn less than $22,720, you are eligible for our services. But like Bryn kindly mentioned before, I personally have had intakes throughout the year, and I've only been here since September, whereby the individual was a bit over eligibility, or they just had extenuating circumstances, and our director just found that they could be eligible. But because we are legal aid funded, every time that happens, our director does have to go to legal aid and inform them that, hey,
Okay.
there's an individual that's over, but we're still going to allow them to have our services. So our director kind of has to pitch for them, if that makes sense. So I do emphasize, like, it is a discretionary topic, and it is like certain circumstances that our director finds makes an individual eligible, even though they are above the threshold.
Okay, thank you so much. So a student with a disability who may not be on ODSP because they're getting, let's say like OSAP, right? Like maybe that could be a potential consideration. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Absolutely. And I will also say, while we're on this slide, so when we talk about Queen's legal aid, that's separate than the legal aid you actually see on the screen. This is the legal aid through Ontario, and that's through a certificate program. Queen's legal aid is like Queen's Family Law Clinic, and that it's a student clinic affiliated with Queen's University. So just to potentially get on top of any confusion that might arise from that. Are there any other questions? Just something else that I anticipated might be something that would interest anyone is just in terms of immigration status and what that means for Queen's Family Law. And of course, someone's partner cannot have them deported. For the most part, we deal with Queen's Family Law Clinic. We don't just deal with Canadian citizens. We also deal with permanent residents. We also deal with people who maybe have only been in Canada for a couple of weeks. And largely immigration status won't be affected by any family law matter. There are, of course, some exceptions to that, which would be dealt with on an individual basis because it's confusing to get into all of them. But for the most part, clients do tend to be very concerned with what's going to happen. For example, if they want to get divorced and they're a permanent resident, or if they're going to have to leave Canada. So that's something we do often share.
Another thing I'd like to note as well is that when, if anyone is ever looking to book an intake meeting with us, just know that you don't have to come to the clinic to book an intake meeting. We do them on Zoom. I've done them over the phone before. And if you want to have the quickest possible service, it's important to also bring any documents that are important to your family law matter. So if you're dealing with something going on with the court, it's important to bring a court order. If you're trying to bring a motion to change your child support, it's also important to think about bringing financial documents such as your tax documents or your notices of assessment. All of this will just help us speed up the process and give better service to you. Are there any more questions?
Well, if there are any other questions that might arise and there's something simple that we can answer, or I know some people are going to watch this recording potentially. So if questions come at a later date, Megan, maybe you could email Rosemary and I, and we can get back to you with them. Great. Well, on that note, if there's no further questions, thank you so much for having us this morning. And yes, please feel free to share this information with any clients and send them our way.
Thank you everyone for listening. We appreciate it.